Dreaming of owning a property in a prime location with great proximity and fantastic neighborhood? EJ Investments Sanyang Seaview Estate is the best choice you have been waiting for. Our Sanyang Seaview Estate is approximately 15 minutes drive away from the busy hub of Brusubi roundabout and into the heart of nature, where you can have a peaceful and relaxed lifestyle with your family. You can buy a finished 4-bedroom story with 5-year flexible payment plan or a service plot with 2-year payment plan option. With over 300 homes, you will enjoy big tar roads with covered drainage, modern electrification with solar street lights, gated entrance with security post, and a breath-catching experience of our beautiful sea view and lake view. You can own a home today at our Sanyang Seaview Estate. Call us today on 446-4838 or 325-9220. Visit our website on ejinvestments.net. EJ Investments, first in property.
It's another beautiful Saturday, and this is the brunch here on Fatou with me, Joy Mama. And of course, I'm not alone in the studio. On my immediate right, I have Mr. Mustafa K. Dabo. I love to call him a bona fide member of the house. You're welcome. And then, of course, my very own co-host, Nimasata Kamara. You're very welcome to the show today.
Thank you.
You know how we'll do it every Saturday. Mustafa will take us through what has been happening or what have been the most captivating information during the week on the newspaper. And further, he will subsequently take us through what has been trending on the Fatou website. Mustafa, what do you have for us?
Thank you very much, Joy. It's been a very eventful week.
Right.
Perhaps one of the most eventful weeks in few months. We have the visit of Prince Charles, and then he has come here 3 days ago, spent a few moments with the president, visited a number of places including MRC, and left yesterday. Mm-hmm. We also have Barrow over the week meeting with traditional rulers. Was, well, politically speaking, it was also a big event in the, you know, if you look at it within the context of this whole, you know, political maneuvering that's been happening over a period of time. Mm. And we've seen Barrow going back and forth with his own political party. So, and promising chief salaries. And, so that was a moment we could talk, we will look into. And also, you know, we've seen a number of tourist arrivals. And it's being reported both, it's being on Kerr Fatou has in fact followed it live always when there are arrivals. Over 500 tourists have arrived this week. And they are expecting record 57 flights weekly. That's the projection from the Gambia Tourism Board. That's the agency that is responsible for marketing the destination Gambia. Mm-hmm. And also, we've talked about Luis Mendy here, if you could remember, the gentleman who died in detention. Right. He's currently on the NIA9 trial. He was on the NIA9 trial. Mm-hmm. After his death, state has filed, has withdrawn the charges against him, and then the court accepted it, so the charges are null and void. And finally, the gentleman has been laid to rest. May God bless his soul. Ombudsman's report on Manja, it's also been released. I've read it, and the content, we will move into that. But it's been out, and it's has started a lot of discussions. And then, you know, a lot of people say, well, this is the time, Barrow, for you to come out and release the order report by the commission, the independent panel. Mm-hmm. Perhaps this is also an attempt to get Barrow to do something. So that someone puts out an information so that the alternative information can be published. But nevertheless, the president have within 6 months. Mm-hmm. Emmanuel Juve told us live, we had an interview with him which is still on Kerr Fatou YouTube channel. Right. at State House, and he told us that the president has until 6 months to decide and, you know, release the information. So yeah, and you know, over the week, you know, from the Nogo Njai case, Nogo was being part of the December 14th demonstrators being actually arrested. We all remember that day. I mean, I went home. You know, when I'm a very funny journalist. When I have emotional stress, I cannot work. I go home. So on that day, it was a very bad day because, I mean, it was very scary if you were there, and, you know, so. But yeah, I mean, Nyogoi had gone through some issues and some fundraisings were done, and Nima will take us through that.
Obviously.
So, you know, the killer years thing also, perhaps you would take us through that. But also the workers at the OIC Secretariat have complained of low pay and some not so good working conditions. We will look into this as well. I think it's a very important thing to talk about, because when Barrow launched the project, we all remember he said one of the things that this is going to bring to the Gambia is not just the complex, but also a job opportunity for the Gambians. So if those same Gambians who the state took pride in naming as beneficiaries of the project are now complaining that they're not benefiting, or that they're being exploited by the people implementing the project, then I think it's an important issue to discuss. So some of you, you know, are going to the stadium later today for Mufti Menk. He's arrived in the country 2 days ago, and he will be doing a show.
Wasn't it yesterday?
Yeah, I think it was day before yesterday.
Yesterday, I think.
Was it? And then he held a meeting with the president. Yeah, he had a meeting with the, it was day before yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
So he had a meeting with the president, and, you know, he had a meeting with the president, and, you know, he led a Friday prayer at Pipeline Mosque and all that, and he said, well, this is a very good, beautiful environment. But he will be at the Independence Stadium. So we'll talk about this perhaps a little later. Yeah. One thing also that I've not seen on newspapers, but Kerr Fatou has on our website, we featured it, and even on our Facebook. It's the Doing the Business Index. It's a World Bank annual report that focuses on various economies, 190 economies, and assess them based on how easy it is to establish businesses. You know, so this, they look at the taxes, the access to energy, you know, a lot of others. Political environment. Yeah, so the political environment, corruption, and a lot of others. So Gambia scores 146 out of 149 out of 190. It's not so good. Yeah, a good ranking. Okay. Senegal scores 141. So Senegal was kind of 8th place behind, in front of Gambia. Yeah, ahead of Gambia. So that's perhaps we'll discuss why. Yeah. So we know also that as Joy almost hinted in a, I think hinted in a introduction, it's the International Day to End Impunity Against Journalists. This is one of the things we'll be talking about in depth with a guest we would have later on. But it's important to highlight the fact that the GPU has, during the course of the week, issued a press statement, you know, to talk about this, because, you know, Gambia has emerged from a very, and then a difficult period for journalists. Personally, I was very angry. I become very angry sometimes when I see people blaming journalists all the time of all the problems. I mean, you know, they stick their necks out in a very difficult period. As they should. Well, as they should, but, you know, also, you know, you can't, you have to acknowledge certain things that happen. You can't just be on people's neck all the time. So, yeah, and, you know, some of the crimes that are committed, they're still not resolved. And we will look into this. We will talk to other people. I mean, we will look into some of the other crimes that are committed, and including killings and tortures that no one until now
has talked about.
It's quite a sad one.
Yeah. So yeah, and then and I think it's going to be a stimulating discussion. And one thing we've also covered on Kerr is the workshop that it's an inter-ministerial meeting, but it will be preceded by a meeting of some technocrats of ECOWAS anti-money laundering institution. They call it GIABA.
Yeah.
If I
think that has already taken place.
Yeah, it's going, so that they are organizing another, sittings on November 11th onwards to November 19th. So it's a very important institution, because this is what looks at terrorist financing in the region. We know terrorism is quite an issue in the region. I mean, even though Gambia has so far, evaded the menace of terror, but some countries in the region, like Mali, are still suffering dearly, Nigeria, Ghana even, in Senegal, in the south. And another thing that is happening that probably I would want us to discuss with regards to this particular issue is people are leaving, and some of them are schooled in Libya and indoctrinated by terrorist groups. In 2015 alone, in 2018, on our website, following monitoring content on Italian media, we reported 3 cases of Gambians who have been arrested in Italy in connection to Islamic State. 3 cases of Gambians, and they were all deported. Okay. Does the Gambia government even know about this? 1, or is the Gambia government documenting cases like this? 2, is SIS even tracking some of the people who are going to Libya and these countries and coming back to the country? Because in Europe, this is a huge topic. In Europe, in France, for instance, they monitor everyone who goes to Syria and come back. They monitor that person, because they can be indoctrinated and radicalized and come back to the country and cause something else. But we also, probably I would need to have your opinions on this, even back way, the stress that people go through and all that, and they sort of going through, and they go through countries like Libya and all that, and they come back. So we'll talk about this in the light of terrorism financing, money laundering and all that. So
now, Mustafa, I picked keen interest in some of the bulleted information that you gave. But first, I would like us to start with the royal visit, because the royal visit had been talk of the town. We had subsequently had the people from State House, and that is the communication, one of the communication head, and ASP Jai that came last week during the forum. And they all encouraged the general public to turn out, because it's a huge event. We had a very important guest, that is the Duke and the Duchess, right? Charles and Prince Charles and Princess Camilla. So I'm sure you were at the event. What happened exactly, and how do you think that the Gambian populace have actually perceived the visit of the royal home?
We were there. I mean, in fact, we covered it live. We were at the airport, and we spoke to some very renowned journalists in the Gambian, on Gambian affairs about the visit of Prince Charles, who has been here when he was 8 years.
11, he said, if I remember.
Yeah. So, and then with the mother, I think it was 19-something, before the independence.
1961?
Yeah. So it's an important moment, in my opinion. I think it was quite a moment for Barrow. I would want to hear your opinions on this.
Yeah, a lot has been said. It seems like a activity-filled week, and since we cannot discuss around everything, there are a few things that I would probably want to throw a few things. And about the royal visit, I think what's important is the moment in which we are right now, having to have changed our political dynamics and attracting the attention of
some of the most prominent leaders around the world, including the royalty in the UK, it's something that we really need to embrace. And that this is the reason why, myself included, there are people thinking that this should have been a very huge event, huge in the sense that everybody needed to feel the ambience. We need not just the ambience, but you are also sending a message, right? This has never happened in the 50-something years of our independence, having a prince or even a queen, a sitting queen visiting the Gambia for political reasons. And we were also told that the prince's visit was anchored on the fact that the British government wanted to strengthen relationship with the Gambia. Who knows what that entails? This could have been around trade, it could have been around the economy, it could have been around the oil exploration that we are. I emphasize this, but it's important to emphasize it also because these things are happening around a period when everybody is now looking towards the Gambia. We can say it's because of the political dynamic that have changed, but it can also be for economic reasons, and this is the reason it's important for us to be mindful about what do we put forward as our interest in terms of our relationship with other people. And this is the reason also why I was interested to know what the lineup of the programs were going to be. Because if a prince of such nature is visiting a country that is in their need of support, you want to highlight the most important sectors of your economy, of your social and political life, where they can intervene if that's what you needed. What we have seen, as I would compare with Ghana or Nigeria, for example, is the visits were done around areas where the UK had more interest. We could say Gambia has an interest also, but if it's a matter of priority, for example, rather than the MRC, the prince could have been taken to visit the Royal Victoria Teaching Hospital, for example, which is a central pillar in our health sector. There are other areas, for example, about girls' empowerment, women empowerment, because these are things I'm concerned with, but also in terms of how do we strengthen private sector relationships between the two countries, the UK and the Gambia, since the UK government is also involved here. How do we attract investment into our economy from the UK? I was thinking perhaps if Gambia is really putting forward their interests, these are the areas they will be looking into as far as our relationship with the UK is concerned, rather than just refamiliarizing the prince with the activities that the UK is involved in with the Gambia, which hasn't happened. Yeah. And also I feel like public involvement in this visit was really lacking, because as far as my personal experience is concerned, everything you get is from the media. Right. Like there's nothing in the public sphere that could tell you that a prince of that caliber is in the country, and especially knowing what it means for the Gambia's image and our rebranding as a democratic country.
Now, listening to you, sorry, Mustafa, listening to you, I could tell that you have made your line of observation very clear. But looking at some of the lineups that we watched over the media, you could see that the prince and the princess were taken to some certain schools, like the likes of St. Teresa's Upper Basic School, Aji Sukai, Savage, and the rest. Do you think it's, or it was quite important to take the prince and the princess to such
yeah, I think that's important. I also think that the Duchess's visit to those places in line with some of the intervention areas that the royalty has in place. I remember when Meghan and Harry was in one of the South Asian countries, I don't remember exactly, there was an organization, it was an educational sector also, where they visited and promised scholarship to women scholars from at the university level. So I hope that this was the case also. I was hoping that the Duchess's visit would be to see how the education sector is and how they can intervene using the established facilities that they have at the Royal House.
But don't you think that is also part of supporting, let's say, women or girls in education if they do that?
Obviously. So I was expecting more of that and less of the other visits.
Thank you very much. Mustafa, back to you now.
Yeah. So I mean, you've talked about the issue of transition and what Gambia is going through and the institutions that are supposed to be strengthened. I mean, if you look at the intervention of the Commonwealth, you see they do a lot of strengthening of institutions and support to governments. I mean, Prince Charles is going to succeed the Queen as the head of the Commonwealth.
Sure.
You don't think this was for Barrow effectively utilized? For Barrow should have been a moment where he killed 10 birds with one stone?
It should be, definitely. Like I said, the visit is historic. We are not expecting in the next 10 years or 15 years that something like this would happen again. So this is a lifetime opportunity that you truly, truly capitalize on. And in capital, I know that the royal family obviously have their intervention areas, but in any relationship whatsoever, there are two interests involved. You have the other party's interest and you have your interest. And Gambia has a lineup of priority areas. Health is one of them. And I'm glad MRC. My point is MRC is a research institution that is affiliated to the UK government. So you would expect Gambia's priority area, especially where intervention is concerned, would be more about the local health institutions and how to empower them, how to build them, capacitate them. And also education is one of Gambia's priority, and the Duchess's visit is very highly welcomed in my perspective. But I know that also for the Barrow government, military, strengthening the capacity of the military will be important, and this has historically, this has been some of the areas where the UK government and the Gambia government join forces to intervene. But what about agriculture, for example? Like agriculture is a very important priority. I hope that the one-on-one discussions that have happened between the president and the prince have covered this area, because it was an indoor conversation that we are not privy to what has been discussed. Right. So it may not be fair. Maybe some of these things that I have highlighted may have been discussed there. I hope that that was the case. But my point is about Gambia really putting forward its priorities and kind of like taking the prince through those things to understand what the Gambia really needs and how their relationship with the UK can really feature into that to push it forward.
Yeah, so one of the most also important moment, if you will excuse, I think is perhaps the politics it offers locally. I mean, it's a for boost. Barrow, not just for distraction, but also to play the big guy.
Yeah.
I'm the one who brings them.
Obviously.
You don't think perhaps that gives him some, something to brag about?
Definitely.
In a way, yeah.
Definitely. This is every leader's chance for greatness. Yeah. Not just the visit, but everything else that follows as a result of the visit. So you are looking forward to what is this going to lead to? What benefits are the Gambia going to get from this, apart from the boosting of our image and also the coverage it gets us from international media houses. Apart from that, we are also looking forward to what next, the what next question. And Barrow now has a chance to really push his political ambition by making sure that some of the promises that may have been made here are followed through. And if we are going to link this to all the other activities that Barrow has been involved in that gives us an understanding of what his political ambition could be, then we see this as a real boost to his confidence also, right? It happens in his era, and it happens at a time when the world is truly embracing Barrow and the Gambia government and the Gambian, the dynamics of our politics as opposed to what used to be in place. So Barrow has an opportunity to add this on his political score sheet. Now, I just wanted to move us to another area that has been covered by your review, which caught my interest, Barrow meeting with the chiefs. I don't know if this is an appropriate time to move things to that area. Yeah. So since we're talking about political scores and so here is an opportunity to really see what is happening within the UDP party, for example. We have had so many instances to predict or even to speculate that Barrow may be standing even without the UDP as a
Independent
as
candidate.
perhaps not an independent candidate. I'm not sure an incumbent will want to run as an independent. I have no idea if that has ever happened, but Barrow has a chance, or he may be harboring ambitions to really build up his own party. The best thing that could have happened for him was if UDP would choose him as their flag bearer. But the fact that all of these things are happening suggests, to me at least, that perhaps we may see a split within the UDP party, and we are seeing Barrow to really use the opportunities that are afforded to him by the incumbency, the position of incumbency, to reach out to the grassroots. Because how do you reach out to the grassroots more effectively than you could by using the chiefs and the alcalos? President Jammeh has done the same thing here, where he used the alcalos through appointments. If you align with his vision, you align with his interests, you are his choosing alcalo. If you don't, you are removed. We may not be expecting that from Barrow, but here is an agency that you can truly use to reach out to the people, especially if incentives are included.
Absolutely, and you know, we've talked about this here many times ago, especially when you are looking at the chiefs, and you are looking at also the pattern. In other words, UDP used to be in charge of this ministry that is in charge of chiefs, and they were taking out of that.
I remember
place.
you said something like that. And
So yeah, and you have someone there who you may not call a Barrow guy, but obviously has more loyalty to Barrow because this is a guy who has no manifested political connection to UDP, at least not that I know of. So yeah, and if you see him meeting chiefs and all that, I think he's also on a process of consolidating his power.
Yeah. But can we also say
strengthening himself, but also I want to look at also the positives. I mean, the traditional rulers are part of the local governance infrastructure that ought to be strengthened. If Gambia were to effectively decentralize power. I mean, for a very long time we've talked about devolving power from, you know, from Banjul.
Yeah.
That is where all know alls, you know everything's go there. I mean, the people who go to Banjul and pretend they know everything, implement policies and impose policies if I were. Because how we create national documents here, it's not that we go to the grassroots and tell them, what do you want?
Yeah.
We sit down at the office and assume this is what the people want. And we give them that. Sometimes they don't want that. So to effectively govern, Gambia must rely on its governance, grassroots governance infrastructure, the councils, the chiefs, the alcalos, you know, and to be able to inform policies so that people will be the authors of their own development. You know?
Yeah,
so I think meeting chiefs and hearing from them what they think and hearing from them their challenges, they complain of salaries, they complain of no allowance, they complain of using their own resources on official issues. So it was a very good moment for Barrow, wasn't it? I mean, in a way, wasn't it?
Of course.
It was, but there are a few implications to this as well. And we have a confused system here. We have, on one side, we have the conventional government, and then we have on the other side what is supposed to be a traditional governance system where the chiefs and the alcalos falls under. But in the real sense, this is not what is happening, because when it is traditional, then the loyalty is to the people, because it's from the people that the alcalos emerge, it's from the people that the chiefs emerge. But the implication here is that we have a true chance for patronage and patrimonialism, and where traditionally, historically, what has always been associated with our modern time traditional governance role within our conventional system is where the president, especially, or the executive, uses resources, state resources, to use them as political mobilizers, more so than as part of the general development. Because if that is the case, then the alcalos and the chiefs would be captured within the conventional governance system, where they get to be elected by the people, they get to serve the interests of the people, and they hold their loyalty directly to the people, so that it is not the president's responsibility to elect, to appoint them or to remove them as he or she wishes. I hope one day we're going to have a she wishes. But my point is, what you're saying is true, if that was the true process as allocated within the conventional system. But what we are seeing is meeting with the alcalos is usually a form of patronage, where you incentivize their activities, especially where now the promise of allocating salaries to them. This is not, it is an old issue that has sprung up some time ago when the parliamentarians were accused of receiving money from Barrow. I am not against salaries being allocated to alcalos or to the chiefs, but if it is coming from the president directly, then that's very much
from the budget.
Problematic. It has to come from the budget, obviously.
Yes.
And
yes.
I also want to say perhaps Barrow has learned his lesson, because there was a time when UDP parliamentarians were given money appropriately as a salary supplement, but within the same period also we had some councillors, area council councillors who were given money also as a supplement. So perhaps he's learning his lesson that all of these things are important steps, but they were not done the right way.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I like the energy in him. I mean, of course, people say, look, this guy is real, you know, it's not doing anything, but I think if you look at the politics, the political game he plays, I think he's quite smart. I mean,
or maybe somebody smart is changing how things are done in that.
Yeah, because house. If you look at his ambitions, I think his ambitions are molding him into a bigger political player. I mean, if you Momo Ekutindingola Yasari, you go and lay another trap. So for me, I see him as some guy who has ambitions and who loves his job. It's maturing and loving his job daily. And he has an intention to keep it for another 10 years.
That's highly expected.
I mean, from that point of view, I think he's trying to, he's doing a he's doing a good job for himself. Well, whether this would also threaten UDP to the table, that's another thing. I mean, because if they see him, I mean, if he lays another trap, they foil that, go after, because you see, even the bribery thing was a dispute within UDP. I mean, the person who leaked it.
Yeah, but my question now
leaked it based on political grounds.
Obviously.
It's not for any other reason.
My question is,
so you could see.
In parallel, what is the UDP party, the co-UDP party, doing to match Barrow's ambition?
So you may never know, but I spoke to a lot of people within, and these are people who come out and deny we are not in a problem. But go and talk to people within. Then you know they are aware of each other.
All right.
Yeah. They are aware of each other.
The next issue that caught my attention as part of your review is the Chinese workers who are protesting at the international
conference center. Yeah.
Conference center. It's interesting to me that what has manifested is the Chinese employees being dissatisfied with their working condition and not Gambians. When I read the news, the issue of the Gambians came later as a supplementary argument or supplementary issue to the main issue, which was with the Chinese. As I understand it, it's the Chinese government who is totally responsible for this project, and they are the ones paying. So how comes is the Chinese employees were complaining, and even whereas Gambian employees...
So the Gambian employees were complaining?
Were complaining also. But as a side issue.
It started
as a side issue.
By the Chinese employers, I think.
Yeah, so the Gambians are complaining of, I mean, the point run is on 31st October, which was on Wednesday. But they are complaining about salaries.
Exploitation was mentioned, maltreatment.
Yeah.
And I think
not
it's
so good working
conditions.
Yeah.
So you're talking about exploitation, you're talking about maltreatment, you're talking about hazardous working conditions for, I think, what I understand was about more than 500 Gambian workers. Where is the labor organization? Where is the labor department? Also, I think what caught my attention truly with this is that a majority of Gambians who are working perhaps do not know where to take their redress in cases like this. I know there was a time when the labor department was very prominent and their names were in the public sphere. People knew where to go to seek redress for violations of their rights. But recently, they have become truly dormant, as far as I'm concerned.
Giving you a reference to what you're saying, I think some time ago, GT Bank with some of their staffers had an issue. And that was where the labor department should have actually come out and then either educate or sensitize the people and tell them exactly what their flaws were.
But it doesn't work like that. It's people who raises these matters with the labor department. It's not the labor department coming to intervene on their own. So my point is, what is happening? Why are people not fully aware of these channels that are available to them to take their cases to when because this is not an isolated matter. It's for the majority of the people who work under the Indians. I don't want to sound racist, but who work under the Indians, because I have myself witnessed a case where I truly were disheartened by how one of Gambia, the Indian Gambia, I wouldn't want to mention the supermarket where this happened, but people work under very unfavorable conditions, and sometimes they get treated very badly under the Chinese, under the Indians, and it doesn't seem like they get enough protection.
That's right. Mustafa?
Yeah. So for me personally, I think it should be the responsibility of the state to fix some of these issues.
Obviously.
I mean, if people are working in the country, the state is the duty bearer of all sort of things, including violations of the Labor Act and things like that. I mean, and you know, on all these related issues, it is the state that should come and do something. Or even the workers' union. If Gambians are involved, they can go to the workers' union and talk to the workers' union about these things. The workers' union has an idea how to deal with this kind of issues, because they've dealt with things like this before. But let's also not forget, Gambia is not new to exploitation. I mean, I go to some restaurants. It's not a very good habit of mine, but I do.
Yeah.
And sometimes you see people yelling at waitresses. Yeah.
No, it happens.
And you know, sometimes I once went to one restaurant and then I asked for just, you know, bottle of water, and then this lady, it's a young girl. For some reason, I can't name the restaurant, but for some reason, this young girl came with a plate full of food. I said, but I didn't order this. I just want a bottle of water. And she said, well, I thought, no, you did. I said, no, I didn't. She must have not understood what I said, but the expression in her face.
Yeah.
I mean, and someone on the side tells me, if you don't take this, she's going to pay.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yeah, so I looked, I said, okay, I did, you know, and we moved on. So, I mean, if you look at sometimes even the fear, I mean, it's as if you are in a country that doesn't even take care of its own people.
My
I mean,
case
this
was
is
the
a
same.
country
Yeah.
where some people can come from the edge of space or somewhere and come and treat people anyhow.
Yeah.
Work with them and don't even pay them.
True.
Or
What
work
I
with them
witnessed
and exploit them in ways that are unimaginable.
was similar. You have
And
an
the workers'
Indian
union
who
don't do anything. In some cases, they are
stands
aware.
behind small girls and directing them what to do as a slave driver would. And for a simple mistake, they get yelled at in front of everyone, which is very humiliating. And you see these girls shaking They couldn't do anything else because they are so fearful. So if you're working in your own country and you're getting treated like this, what happens when you go outside? I think it's the government's responsibility, whichever department is responsible, to raise more awareness about our labor rights and where the channels through which we can seek redress when our rights are being violated in our workplaces, especially where foreigners are involved here.
We have workers' union, and you know that. I mean, we've seen a number of strikes, demonstrations from hoteliers, like people who were working at the hotels. You know, waitresses, waiters, you know, things like that. And they are complaining. Some of them have been paid money that many can't get you food at a restaurant.
True.
Sad.
And this is the person who is cooking. This is the person who is doing all the work. This is the person who is supposed to be the king of that place because it's the person who is bringing money. But that person is not being paid. And the workers' union and government, and so exploitation is here, very much alive.
It is.
Yeah.
So, viewers, I will take you through, I would like you to take us through, Mustafa, the tourist arrivals. You made mention that estimately 50 flights have flown in.
500 and over 500 arrivals.
So far?
During the course of the week.
So, do you think that the head of the tourism department or sector is doing a great job?
I think so. Tourism is associated with a lot of ills, so we would perhaps look into that. But you know, we probably may overlook the tourism minister's gaps and say for once that I think his industry is doing well. You know, I mean, 200. Over 500 arrivals in a week, and also the projection is that the projection, which is, of course, this is what we expect, in case there is no God save us, there is no major outbreak or any other thing like Ebola that affected us in 2014, 2015. They are hoping that 57 flights will come weekly.
Now, let me link this to the visit of the royal family. Do you think this can also be a means to attract
more tourists from from England?
Yeah, from England?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a possibility. There are a lot of reasons why people would visit a particular country for tourism purposes, and tourism has always been an important sector in our economy. So the fact that the royal visit is going to give us a very wide coverage and publicity in the world, there are chances that some other people may be curious as to why the royalty would visit the Gambia and would want to see what is happening here to visit themselves. Also, in as much as we can give credit to the tourism minister for doing a very wonderful job, we have to also understand that a lot of things has changed within the 2 years of the change of government. People visit because there is security. People visit because there are other incentives. For example, in the Gambia, what we brand ourselves with is the sun and the sand, but also people visit because of the hospitality that is available. So in the past, we have a seizure to the number of people who visit the Gambia because of the lack of security, because of the negative publicity that the Gambia has been receiving from the world and the negative image that has been portrayed to the world. And all of these things have changed as a result of few other events that have been happening, which was the impasse has been highly covered and reported, and it gives a lot of exposure, even in areas, in quarters where Gambia has never been mentioned. Majority of the people have become aware of the Gambia then.
Right.
And the positive outcome as a result of the impasse have also could be one of the factors why people are interested to choose this very small country as their tourism destination. And the royal visit is going to really increase the positive image that should be portrayed outside.
Interesting. Mustafa?
Yeah, I mean, one more thing. I think this is very important for us to also look into it. It's about doing the business index. I think Gambia needs to do more. I mean, this is a country that emerges from dictatorship. One of the things that Barrow says he's going to do is to attract investment, right? If we are trying to attract investment, one of the key documents that people who want to come and invest in your economy look out for are doing the business index, Transparency International Corruption Index, your justice system.
Yeah.
Because people want to know if they come to your country and they fall out with the president, they can get good compensation.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why we say Gambia could not, because Gambia was saying, how can a judge be independent? He's independent from the executive. He is paid by the government.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, independence of the judiciary. Business index, look at it and see Gambia ranked 149, terrible.
Yeah.
Out of 190 countries.
And energy is also very important. Nobody
Access
wants
to energy.
do business in a country where now it gets to go off every now and then. Like somebody will say, come fast, go fast.
And also taxes, one of the highest in the region.
Yeah. So that's very true. Joy, what do we have next?
What's next? What have been trending on social media?
Very important. What has been trending on the social media? So 2 events happened in the recent few past days, which have overshadowed a lot of other local activities, and it was the royal visit, as we have discussed. It was also Mufti Meng's visit. Mufti Meng, or Mufti Meng, I don't know if that's the right pronunciation, is a very prominent scholar. I think it's Zimbabwean born scholar, Islamic scholar. He is very famous, as he has so many clips on YouTube, and he has become very famous in the Gambia as well, with especially the young people. And as I understand, what distinguished him from other known preachers is his preach for peace and harmony and all things positive that we should have, that interfaith relationship. And what I like about preachers is when they preach more about heaven than they do about hell. And Mufti Meng has distinguished himself in that regard. So he is visiting, or he's on visit. He has met with the president, and he is going to have his maiden preaching show at the Independence Stadium. I know some of us are looking forward to it. I'm not sure if I am. I think also why it's trending on social media is that a lot of people are looking forward to his visit, but also there are some people who are apprehensive, comparing him to, what was his name? Zakir Naik's visit. For me particularly, what I find strikingly different between these 2 visits is one has been invited by the state, and the state was supposed to be how do you call it, a secular entity, and you have different ethnic, different religious entities within the country that would not appreciate that. In this case, Mufti has been invited by private individuals, and even so, there are people saying this is a secular country, we shouldn't be having visitors to come here to divide us, and there are some people on social media to say not every preacher's visit has a potential to divide our community, because we have a long-standing, very strong relationship between different faiths, between different ethnicities. So what do you think?
Just a quick question to you. I was very impressed when I listened or watched him talk about one of his major motivations or drives to wanting to give a speech in Gambia. And then, if I understood, he made mention of the inclusion of the minorities, which goes far beyond to say ethnicity, tribe. You know, I think, do you think, this is a question to you, do you think that his subject of preaching today, which is inclusion, love, unity, and inclusion of the minorities, do you think that his preaching, or him preaching on this particular topic, is best needed at this particular time that the Gambia finds itself?
There is no doubt about that. We are at a stage in our political era, in our religious arena, where we have a lot of rhetorics. It's more so rhetoric than it is the reality. The talks around the divisions, along ethnic lines, along religious lines, where when something like this happens, everybody starts to speculate what the outcome is going to be. But I think the advantage Mufti has, as opposed to other preachers, is that he's an African-born, so he is used to a multi-ethnic, multi-religious environment, and perhaps that may be the reason that informed this decision. But also those who invited him also could have been privy to the political climate that we are under right now to suggest something like this. But nonetheless, it's a good move, and I think an all-inclusive event like this would be welcomed by the majority of Gambian people.
Interesting. What else do you have that's trending?
So what else I have is, well, it's interesting times. We have a different political climate. People feel comfortable to send jabs at our president, the way he looks, the way he dresses. So I don't know why some of you are not here with a bow tie.
Yeah,
but
I was about to wear mine, but
yeah.
maybe Fatou will give
So
me
on social media, it is highly trending. We have people in the diaspora, people in the Gambia sending their best pictures with their bow tie to match the president's, hopefully to outrun him or to beat him down. So apparently the president wanted to impress the prince to let him know that he can be as British as possible, even when we expected him to be in his grand buba and his haftan, he decided to go for a bow tie. So I think bow tie has become a thing in the Gambia now.
Hashtag bow tie.
Hashtag bow tie challenge. It's out there. And another interesting thing that happened, which is very characteristic of our Gambian community, is when somebody is in distress, we join them and we sympathize with them, but also we give them a helping hand. A very prominent member of the UDP party called Nogo Njai was a subject of violence and brutality under the President Jammeh regime. And as a result of that, she has been afflicted with very bad conditions. And recently, some people, seeing that the government is moving really slowly to offer help and assistance to the victims of the Jammeh brutality, have come to her aid by setting up what they call Fund Me account, and it has really been funded very well, even exceeding the limit that has been set. There was a limit at first, and then when there was so much, $5,000, when there was so much support, they have to raise it to 7,000, and it still exceeded 7,000. So this is a very important thing. I think something that we need to embrace. I am not sure if you remember the person who started this. Maybe we can send a shout out to
Bubakar
him.
Siddiq.
Bubakar Siddiq Jammeh, sorry. Bubakar Siddiq Jammeh, shout out to you. And I hope that, because recently we are seeing so many people having health conditions and health complications that they cannot fund themselves, and Gambians are coming to their aid. And I think this is really important.
It is important, but it also started a very big debate around what do we do for victims of the past regime. I mean, there are a lot of people who have died. In fact, on these people alone, people who have being arrested between April 14 on towards the end of the crisis, which was in July, because Dabo and others were prosecuted in July and sentenced in July, sorry. So between that time, the people involved right now, I think the death toll stands at 5.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it raised a question. And there is a pattern here. 5 people of all these people who are involved, less than 100, have died so far, in less than 2 years.
What will happen?
So, and you know, a lot of people are complaining about health implications. Some blame the party, some blame the government, but some are blaming everyone. Because they said, oh, these are national heroes, and people have abandoned them. And
obviously.
And they're going through a lot of pain. Yeah. I mean, aside from Nogo Njai, there are a host of others who are complaining of pain. You remember, they even issued a statement at some point. They went to Victim Center and complained a lot about Dabo, about Barrow, about... and I think one of the... Dabo and Barrow and others are terribly handling this. They're handling this in a very terrible way. I mean, it could have been... They can't take the blame for the problems that happened because Dabo himself was in jail. But they have a responsibility, at least with people who have reasonable amount of money, to be able to help these people with a single 100,000 or 50,000, to even go to Senegal here and make a check. I mean, before you dish out money to parliamentarians or you buy cars and give it to people, you have less than 100 people to cure.
Yeah.
Hajj. I mean, so it's terrible for Barrow and Dabo,
yeah.
I think.
So I'm not going to comment on UDP's responsibility because I think UDP primarily has a responsibility to their people, especially if they're in a position to help and they could do it, they should do it. But as far as the state is concerned, obviously no one can deny the fact that this is purely the state's responsibility.
It is.
It was the state that have let these people down in the first place, so the state has a responsibility to give reparations to these people. But now leaving that with the TRRC, I think obviously it has to follow a systematic process, and the TRRC is that systematic process, but the TRRC process is moving too slow for a majority of people. Now the question is, does the state has the capacity and the funds to clandestinely deal with these individual cases as they come?
They do, because you may not know, but Turkey has offered a medical help. Turkey has offered to treat these people.
I am aware of that.
All that you need to do is to give them a ticket to go to Turkey.
Then that's negligence.
Now, you buy tickets for, you can even raise funds to buy tickets for these people to fly in Turkey, come out. You've set up
for Barrow, government doesn't need to raise funds to fund less than 100 people's tickets to Turkey.
To Turkey.
It's not that expensive.
Now you see, for me, I was very angry. I mean, because if you look at what Barrow is doing, I mean, for Barrow, this is a guy who has access to $20 million. It's for donation alone.
Obviously.
As the president of the Gambia, $20 million for donation alone. And you are giving it out like some billion-dollar businessman. I mean, not caring people who are dying, people whose sweat and death and tears brought you to power. Barrow is in power because some people took to the street in December. The change that happened in Gambia happened because some people took to the street in December. I mean, when we all saw the political climate, one thing was clear. It was clear very much that these people, Jambe made all the statements. We said a lot of statements he made at Talending and other places that made him unpopular. But Jambe made those statements because of the frustration he was under. And this frustration was as a result of the April 14 and April 16. I mean, Dabo could have known better. You know, these are people who went through hell.
No, I agree
you
with
understand?
you.
I mean, Barrow, the state cannot, and Barrow is using TRRC as politics. He's using it to destroy the APRC. It's a political tool for him. That's what angers me. You are using the story of victims as a political tool to get rid of a former regime. And then you show no interest, not at all, not a single one, in curing these people. I mean, you know, it's a very...
Yeah, I agree with you. We can agree completely that this is a total negligence, because I have recently become aware of the Turkey package, the health package, that is with the Turkish embassy in collaboration with the Ministry of Health. The government has an opportunity now to send people for treatments abroad, and if they are not taking advantage of that, it's just lying there.
And it said that Turkey actually paid for a treatment of 25 people every year.
Wow.
25 people every year, and the first batch went, none of these victims were on board. I mean, you have even April 10 and 11 people here.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with TRRC? You're going to bring dead people to come and talk to you? Because these are the people who hold records of things that happen behind the closed doors at NIA.
Yeah.
So now you are not just messing up with victims, you are allowing SIS to build new buildings and destroy all the evidences. You are not just doing that. Because Barrow doesn't tell us, he doesn't know what is happening at NIA.
What do you say about the TRRC?
And now he's neglecting everything that has to do with the victims. Victims that brought him to power. I mean, that is what every citizen should be angry. Because it's negligence. This is the government's duty. It's supposed to protect rights.
It's state's responsibility, regardless of which government is in power, to take care of these people.
Absolutely.
It was perpetrated by the state. But what you said about the TRRC is very interesting, because recently the Afrobarometer survey that has just concluded, I mean, the outcome was that barely above 30% of Gambians have trust in the TRRC process. And if the TRRC is supposed to introduce us to the ideal Gambia that everybody is looking forward to, if trust is lacking in that institution, then the outcome will not necessarily be
So you see, this is Barrow's approach to things. This country, people don't act until things are out of hand. We've seen this in Faraba. You have to wait until people die to do anything at all. And still now the report is with him and he did nothing. Now, we've seen several cases like this, the Golden Lead, every other case Barrow dealt with. He had to wait either until people die or until people lose resources or until people are about to die. Nogoing Jai and others, they've demonstrated. You think they haven't go to newspaper records. They've even complained.
The
About
most
4 months ago.
institution, as far as the TRRC is concerned, is the Victim Center.
Now, exactly.
And they have been crying for the way the government is treating their case, even when the missing cases that were supposed to be investigated, they couldn't even get access to the
Kijera
reports.
told Barrow at TRRC launch.
They couldn't get access to the reports. So this is really disheartening, and I hope the government...
And what even happened at TRRC was that, at the Victim Center, was that even when the police investigated the death of people like Mahmoud, Solo Sandeng and others, the police went and leaked that same report to a newspaper. So victims who have lost, someone has lost his father, and is only getting to know about that information from a newspaper. And this is investigated by a state. I mean, you cannot even have the reasonable, conduct to call victims and say, this is what happened to your father. We consumed this, we exhumed the body, we've tested it, and this is this and that and that. But these are the people we suspect have killed them, and we are doing X, Y, and Z to help them. They didn't do that. Now, 3 months ago, we published the report. I think we were the only ones that published it on Kerr. The Victim Center took it upon themselves to write a letter to UN Human Rights Review. There is this UN peer review mechanism. Every state's for protection of human rights, political rights, and things like that. So Gambia government, countries go every 4 years, I think. Gambia government went there. Every government, civil society organizations are obliged to send, things. Victim Center wrote to these people, to UN, and they told them clearly that at NIA and at the other places, buildings are being plastered and new structures are being built. That's what they said there. And Barrow doesn't care, because I asked,
lost.
yes, evidence is being destroyed at NIA.
Yeah.
And I asked him that question at the State House, the last press conference. He was telling me, this is not happening. I was like, but what are you talking about? Yeah. This is what the UN told you, Minister. Batambedu heard about this. Because when he went to the UN, one of the recommendations UN wrote, that document is still on UN's website, is for Gambia government to help protect evidence at SIS. A particular person, Babali, has recounted that he has met someone at Fajara, at Kayaba Beach Hotel. And this person was the one who tortured him. And this person is still an SIS. Now, how does anyone trust anyone who is dealing with people like that?
This is true.
So even if you go to the commission, the same people who are coming back and forth from the Jane Commission, talking about all those maladministration, are the same people he is working with, are the same people who are advising him. And you are telling me you are serious about the commission. How are you serious? And this is the same thing he is doing to the victims. That is why the victims are frustrated. And if I were them, I will sue Barrow to court.
Now, everybody should get frustrated by this. Because it's not
They
just
shouldn't
the
stop
victim's
at
problem,
that. They should take him to
Gambian
court.
Problem. This is a Gambian problem, and it has a potential to really mar the process of the DRRC. Because the outcome of the DRRC, it's not going to be respected if things get to go this way.
Absolutely. And the great goal, TRRC's major goal, is to make sure that people who have lost relatives get some degree of, some closure.
Yeah.
And people don't get to have that. If they are dead, someone is tortured and is in a condition that is dying. You are not helping to fix that person, and you let the person die, and you are busy setting up an institution for UN money. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
That money will come, TRRC will come.
Yeah.
Who are you going to invite to come and tell their stories? No one. And who is going to even, where will the evidence be? If the biggest torture chamber, which in Rwanda, by the way, they've sealed some of these places. in all the countries where you have old school dictatorship, where
they
a lot
become
of
museums where
that's
people
exactly
learn
they
a
do.
lesson from, so that moving forward, something like this is never going to happen.
It's a
again.
crime
if
scene.
you destroy that, you are destroying our memory, our collective memory.
Exactly, it's a crime scene. You go and raise down a crime scene and build new complexes. Because I went there myself. I was at SIS when the High Court went there. You know, High Court George Kumbasila Kamara went there with Tuman Gay and others. I was there with them. And I saw the buildings myself. They were being, like, they used hammers to remove the plasters and put in new plasters. The building, the clinic was completely raised down, a new one is being built. This whole complex is being plastered. How do you do that to the biggest crime scene in the country?
It's disheartening.
It's a sad story, and I can't see how this guy can even...
It's a sad story.
I mean, it's a sad story.
Yeah, so we're moving on to another very sad story with Killer Ace. I think Killer Ace is an artist who has alleged that he was brutally beaten by the police at the Serekunda police station and has been arrested overnight and so on and so forth. On social media, there are people who believe this story, there are people who don't. But as far as I'm concerned, it's not a matter of whether it is true or not. For me, this falls under a very large problematic issue in the Gambia is police brutality. Like we have been hearing reports about police arresting people illegally, also beating them, which is very illegal also. And then when that happens, they change the story because they have the upper hand. Yeah. It becomes their word against your word. But very recently also, the police, I think as part of the whole security sector reform, is trying to rebrand themselves. Mind you, among all the security service within the security sector, the police has scored the very least confidence among the public. As
on
far
the
as
Afrobarometer?
The Afrobarometer. And they have been rated as the most corrupt. This information is not out yet, but just since we're talking about this, it's important to connect the dots because they are in the public sphere. They are the ones directly dealing with the people. So what they do have an impact on the image of the whole security sector. So I don't know why, if the police itself is trying to rebrand themselves. We have seen their posters asking people to report cases of brutality and beatings, of corruptions and so on and so forth, and that doesn't match necessarily with their actions. Isn't that problematic?
It is, but interestingly, the army got how much? 51, right?
Yeah, the army, the confidence rate within the army is really...
For me, it's amazing.
Yeah,
and I think it's true.
economic.
I think it's true.
Yeah, I believe so too.
With the brutality thing by the police, like my mother have severally had cases of such with the police, and to the extent that she would even go directly to their police headquarters to lodge this complaint. And when such cases happen, it keeps turning in and turning out, and at the end of the day, you that is the complainant tends to be
exhausted and tired.
Not only exhausted, you're actually then
You are
turned
branded as
into
the
your case
perpetrator.
as, you know, the liar in the case, which I feel that if the police, PR, or the general police force, if you're watching this, my family is a victim of your brutality. And now, an artist, I think you really need to do something about that.
So, you know, but also, to be also fair to the police, the truth also is that if you look at the army's responsibility is the protection of the people, the country from external aggression. They don't get to be dealing with the public directly. And if you look at that of the police, their job is to come to you and me and deal with us directly. So in that kind of, so we are likely to have more problems with them than with the army.
But don't you think that's even more the reason why the police need to be civilized?
But that is why their trainings is also even different from that of the army.
They need to be thoroughly civilized to understand that their job is to protect the people and not to be used as, not to use impunity against the people. So,
so also, let me give you this police thinking. I mean, a friend of mine and I went to Guinea-Bissau on a reporting trip last year, and we were coming, and we had in fact, in Guinea-Bissau, in two places, we had a problem with a policeman in Guinea-Bissau. You know, his surname is Sadis. I told him, look, you're my uncle. I'm the one who even fixed it. you know what he told me? He told me, Gambians, you Gambians don't respect police. Guinea-Bissau. We were coming, Senegal, Casamas, and we were talking with a soldier. He told me, you Gambians don't respect uniform people. You can check with him, I was there. I mean, so maybe if you are talking also to a policeman, a policeman may also tell you, well, you Gambians don't respect us. You keep insulting us. I mean, in some cases, sometimes it does happen to them. Huh? Sometimes it's also fair to, I met police who are completely very professional. But you also, I mean, in every profession, you have people who are, people who are not very...
But let me tell you something. Respect goes both ways. And I agree, there are a lot of Gambians who will not respect police, especially when they're doing their job. But respect comes from how a person gets approached, right? In most instances, I think for me, the way I see it, it's like our security sector, including the police, has a language of their own, which is always not civil.
Yes.
Like you want to approach somebody not with respect, you don't expect to be given respect. Like for example, if you are approaching me, everybody is assumed innocent until proven guilty, right? If you approach somebody as if they were guilty and you want to treat them in that manner, you're going to have alterations, and this is usually what happens. Our security sector needs to learn to talk to people with civility. If you listen to the military, the police, mostly what you get is the present Yametu. It's the present Yametu. They talk to you authoritatively, they shout at you, they want you to do things at their will without explaining to you why. Because nobody should be arrested without their rights being explained to them. Nobody should be arrested without knowing why they are being arrested. But in most cases, this doesn't happen with our police. And I've had alterations with police at some point. There was a time when I was driving with a friend and we got stopped, and the police officer says, you have to park your car inside the police station and I'm going to drive in your car. And we asked for what? He said, we have violated the traffic rules. He wouldn't tell us which specific traffic rule we have violated. He wouldn't tell us what the penalties are. He just says, park inside. And my friend said, I'm not going to drive you in my car. I don't have a responsibility to drive you. Show me the way and I'm going to go there. And we understand from that incident that perhaps they don't necessarily know what the administrative law concerning traffic rules specifically are. So you cannot administer something that you yourself do not really know about.
Thank you very much, Musa. Of course, that has been a very insightful discussion with my able panelists here. And now to the segment that I always can't wait for, that's the entrepreneur. So on this edition of the program, we'll always profile a Gambian who has set up a business for economic growth and also employment creation. We meet a young Gambian who goes by the name Bakari Jata of Babuji Fashion Shop, who's making a name for himself in the fashion industry. Let's take
I deal with this thing, lady stuff. Musa like a do yeah, ranging from jeans, dress all, and all of that, official wears, all that, anything that has to do with ladies. Yeah, more like mini skirt, mini skirt, jeans, party dresses, maxi dresses, 3/4, long ones, short, and in baggy, and in dress, yeah, official wears, t-shirts, against all, yeah. Yeah, I graduated like 2008, 9. So Kabrin graduated, I did some furthering, then after, but business was always on my mind. Come like that. So what time all long if you go standing a Kodoke do Babuji, we started selling sets special. You know, that's how we started. That was like 2008 itself. You know, so 2009, molia jibe dal pour que business on you further, pour que ka yatal dal, yeah. What time all molia start can you support dada after doing the bagage fengol kono musu bagage all kono thing, yeah. Challenges will see other, but I will just name few. You know, okay. Gambia business or wamola, you understand? But our business on you for the minka ke for asiatale, you understand? And minka important that time backup. Name backup so that over batale. Yalo business on you for the for the casa mole bulwalanga order. Igaja ordering you for over expensively. So ibajela need to have capital so that you can know if yeah, order from like places like China, Turkey, Dubai, and all of that. If you want to know, you can order. Well, again, a bit easy like that. Generally, capital is a major challenge. Yeah, and tell me about it. Killing new like a partner, sign them more easy, and also nabo biere. Kono swewu mbijane kono na kanyo mawe you know, yeah. Anko aborta lego. Yeah, ntel kay musul. Ni musul lega naka business okay. Because yalo musul one thing be la kudo fana it fana first thing near kudo so the first thing you can mira. Well on how they gonna look nice to impress, you know. Ite yalo ne ite musul. Yeah, to ni musul like a business work dal wala multi role di da. Yeah, in 5 years time come government could mean nothing thing. Ni fana ya try, you know, come minika bagasul nati. Come shipment all thing. Ya tala ni ya tala. Ibajala business or a business or be future. Yeah, can expand more, can expand gain. At least you full of sort of, you know. Ufanang moi lolu dal be duwa kan dal ko le change, you know, yeah, but jiko ba ko
Make a difference and text CAR to 900 to win a car with Gamcell. Gamcell and Rotary Club of Bruceby brings you a chance to win a brand new SUV Corando. The more you text, the more chances you win. Join Gamcell today for your chance to win a car, fridge freezers, televisions, smartphones, and lots of cash prizes. Draws will be held live on GRTS TV. Proceeds will be used to help the humanitarian activities of the Rotary Club of Bruceby in the Gambia. Every SMS costs $10. Your SMS could save someone's life. Join us and text CAR to 900 today. A brand new SUV Corando awaits you. Rotary, making a difference. Gamcell, Yai Borom.
Welcome back to the brunch with me, Joy Mama. Now, yesterday, which was November 2nd, was the International Day to Impunity for Crimes Against Journalists. And in our studio today, we have Mr. Musa, who is the proprietor of the Voice newspaper. Musa has been tortured by the previous government in doing what he loves the most, that is journalism. But I would not like to speak much for Musa. Musa,
yeah.
What's your story?
This is a long story, and I really, it was just on the invitation of my brother, but I never spoke about it or talked about it since years, and since 2006, since I left from there. People ask me, and people invite me, they want to interview me, but I just told them no, because what has happened has happened. The whole thing started when I left the Daily Observer in the late 90s, because I started with the Daily Observer and I grew up there. Then later on, then I moved to the Gambia government paper called the Gambia Daily. You know, at that time, after the July 22nd, I think 95, 96, we were running a mouthpiece paper called Upfront. Maybe many of you don't know about that. I used to work with Auntie Satu Job, Mam Sen, they were Yusufa Job, who used to do the layout, but the paper really was not selling. What we were doing with the paper, we just get to the department, put the photo of the juntas, talk about them, then we take it to the ministries, and it's going in the market. So when I was with Gambia Daily, then I decided to quit because what really, you know, I have a principle, and things were not going fine. So when I left, then I joined the Citizen newspaper. It was New Citizen. At the same time, then Babuka was running Citizen FN. So we were there as a young man. I was with Ibrahim Asila, Lami Sabali, Usman Sise, Maimuna Bana, it's called Maimuna Banjai, who is with West Coast, I think West Coast via FM, one of those radio. So there were we all was at that age, we were very young, you know, doing our own things. So then on the 8th of February, we have this program on News at 10 at the Citizen. You know, then when these materials were broadcast, I think it didn't go down well with them. And then there was this arrest. Then Mr. Gay, Sila, other us, you know. But really, I was not involved because I have to stay back because at my age at that time, I was like panic because of the NIA. But after that, then there was this battle, you know, they brought in these colonial laws, you know, this false information and all those things. And when you look at the Constitution of the Gambia, really, it is a colonial law. It should not be there. It's in the laws of the Gambia, maybe when you look at it thoroughly, when you go into it, it's a terror act. It's not really a law. So these are some of the things. So they use that because at that time, what really happened, and that is what is popular today, this broadcasting of news in the local language. At that time, when citizens were ranking, you have Fatmata Jaumpa Sise, you have Ibrahim Asila, you have Babuka himself, the late Babuka. So other than, like, when you get to Serekunda Market, all the old people have their own radio. When it's time, they just tune to the radio. Like, they take from the newspaper and they review it into the Madinga, Wolof, I don't know about Fula. So it was very popular. I think that didn't go down well with the government. So the people were closed. So from there, we started. So I have a dream because really my uncle got me a visa to go to the States. So when I got a visa, just on the phone, we have a misunderstanding. So I have to give the visa to my junior brother, Alio. He's in the American Army now. So he went. So I started to talk to my uncle. Then he sent me another money. That was already almost, I think, 1908 November. Then I have the dream. I wanted to register a paper. So I went and met Babuka. I told him I want to launch a paper. Then he looked at me, he laughed. He said, yeah, you can do it. Because really what happened, I've gone through the various cycle. Like in journalism, I don't talk about other sides of journalism, but in print journalism, I can take the newspaper I can take the news from the street, take it back to the office, and I bring it back to the street. What do I mean by this? I can report the news, I can edit it, I can produce it. The only thing I can do, maybe the cut machine, I can run it. You know, so it was easier. So I told him I can do it. So we started. Then the issue of the bond came. So the first guy I talked to, he ate the money, which was at that time almost 20,000. It was a big money at that time. So when he ate the money, I didn't give up. We started going, so looking for a way. So we found I got a final solution. Now the newspaper was registered. So we started with Sedi Khan, Pa Usman Dabo, Chief Ibrahim Manen, you know, all these guys were with us, you know. So like, you know, the paper started getting popular. We started with the name, it was not really the Voice, it was the Inquirer newspaper. You see? So when we started, things started moving. You know, the paper started getting popular, you know. At that time, Independent was not born. You know, these are some of the things people don't start knowing in this country. Voice is older than many papers in this country. So we started moving. Then one day they called me at the Registrar General office that, you know, there was a document that was not filed. So I went there, I tried. They accepted. So we started producing. So on this 5th day now, then Daily Observer have a problem on editorial policies. Then this guy came to meet me. Ibrahim Asila called me. Say, where are you? Because at that time, Sidatu was just hanging with BBC. Citizen was no more working because all of our dream was Citizen was going to make it, then all of us go back to work. So Sida come and say, what is going on? You know, like that was the any part of, I think the first week in 2000. Then he told me, okay, we have this issue. There's this mass presentation at Daily Observer. That's Lamin Cham, Musa, and all these guys, all the senior guys left the paper. So he told me, okay, you are invested a lot. This is what I want to offer you. Just put this one in your pocket. The paper should not be printed by you now. It should be published by a media company. Then I said, okay, that's a good idea. We are better. You know, they tell me, no, this what I'm giving you is not part of anything, but we are going to get the core course and we are going to look for a better office things work. Yeah, so I said, okay, that's good. We have a successful meeting. And he sent me to Usman Sila, the lawyer who was shot. So Usman Sila changed the whole document. The registration of the newspaper document was done by Ami Bensoda. I pay her. You know, she prepared the bond or the affidavit and all.
What newspaper is this? The Voice?
Yeah, The Voice, but at that time it was the Inquiry.
You had a problem with?
There where I'm coming now. I'm coming in. So when we got this done from the meeting, we decided that an editor was set, editorial team was set, who we had marketing was set. So from there, we left. So we were looking for an office. I used to work with Yamundao and there's another lady. So in the morning, we're coming down to the office, then Yamundao rushed and meet me at the gate. So Musa, don't enter. I said, what happened? Said, there are guys here looking for you, but we suspect they are NIA. I said, okay, that's not a big deal. We didn't commit a crime. So I walked in and I met two gentlemen. You know, the other guy, they used to call one another class, but the other guy was like Tiba and the other one was a Sila. Then they asked for me, and then they asked for the registration document. So I handed over the registration document. I told them, no, I don't have the registration document with me here. Then he said, okay, you can go with us. That's how we left for Banjul. And at that time, in the Gambia, computer was expensive. We only managed to have 2 computers, and they moved the 2 computers to the NIA. The information was leaked with the belief that the British and the American are trying to sponsor a special paper for the 2001 presidential election. And we don't have that discussion with anybody. So that's how everything was seized, and I would spend almost 2 days with them. I couldn't understand. Nobody's talking to me. So through a good friend, sorry, I don't want to call her there, then she was able to make some arrangement that this guy can be released on bail. So I came, office closed down. Document is now way off. We have been asked, as you know, do not publish. And there's no letter from any government office, or either from the AG Chamber, or from the Ministry of Information, or from the magistrate, or from even anywhere that do not publish. So we you know, at that time too, there was no experience. So we started moving up and down. Guys got discouraged. Some of them got back to Observer. They called them, they talked to them. So I started pushing, went there every day. I could remember the late A.K. Savage was the registrar of company. So anytime he said, "Wait, what is your problem?" I said, "No, my documents are here." So we push the year end, 2002 parliamentary election went. Then they wait for the local government election. That one too went, you know, before one day I went there, then he called me through a help of another guy who was from the NIT and said, when I got there, I couldn't get the computer. I can't get the document. So the document was given to me. Even some of the document was missing. I have to go to the Registrar General office upstairs of company, then they got some file to give me some document. We went back. There was no money. See the challenge? We started going here.
Let me just say something quickly. I just want to remind our viewers that the reason why we invite you here is to hear your story, but also is part of the bigger scheme of things, because yesterday was the International Day of Impunity.
Yeah, definitely I will come to that. The question, the first question is what I'm trying to...
We want the viewers to get your story, but we have limited time, so maybe...
I can summarize.
Tell us specifically what happened to you.
Yeah, so that's how the whole thing started. So when we got the document back, then we started, then we have Lamin Diba, he lived in the States. He used to use a penny called Memuna Sammo, writing for us. And he wrote a story, you know, in interview with Juara, that Gambia cannot maintain 2 state house, one in Kanilai, one in Banjo. It caused another problem. Just when we started, just 1 month. I was picked up, and I was the team, you know, even Steve was with the team that I'm talking about. So everybody now got discouraged. So they have to come again to collect everything from me and take it to the NIA. Started there, you know, after I was detained for 3 days, then they asked me to go. One evening, they said, okay, you can go. Haidara told me that you can go, you know, my brother. So that's how the whole thing started. You know, we were there now, and then I got discouraged. And my people told me that, okay, especially my junior brother came to my house. I was sleeping, took the recorder, those days you have the small tape, he burned everything with the camera, everything. So I decided, I got discouraged. So I sat down, I decided to do a quick diploma course. So after that, then in 2005, DA invited me. It was like when I was launched, I was not really proud. I was just here now. Then DA just called me and said, hey, Farah. I said, yeah. I said, where are you? I said, I'm at home. He said, oh, but come to News and Report. I have something for you. So he being the president of the Gambia journalists at that time. So I thought that maybe it was a training package that he wanted to link me to. So I just rushed to Serikuna, to Swaibu office in a head of Serikuna market. Then he gave me a notepad with a pen that, look, you have to go to buffer zone. That will be launched today. I want for you to cover it for me. I said, dear, I'm not interested. I said, no, Musa, you can't just be sitting there and waste that. So that's how we went there. We started, then I started with Swaibu. When I started with Swaibu, things were going fine. I was going in Parliament. I used to have a lot of problems with them because Southern Dream Parliament said, and I would come. So on this 5th day in March, I never knew that freedom has been hijacked. I never worked for freedom. No, I never write for Padiri. He's a good friend of mine. We do a lot of things together. But I never even signed in on freedom. So I hear that they are picking people for freedom. So I never knew. So when I came to the office, then Swaibu told me, he can't talk now, but he said, oh, that is a doyen, really, real doyen. So he told me that, Musa, your name is on the list. I said, which list? I said, Mr. Kunade, you must be joking. So I didn't even take it serious. So I left. I went to Caraba Beach to attend, I think it's an environmental program. So while coming, when I passed through the police station, then Boto Keta told me, say, Madinga, that I come in Africa. That's where the whole problem started from. My bag was given to my colleague who were with me, and I was picked up within that, I think 3-4 hours, I entered almost 6 cells. Because I was moved to Silikunda cell, put me in the cell from there to Kayaba, then I was put in the cell, then they drove me to Brikama, and I was put in the cell. Then when we came, we make a stop at Bundu where they were discussing, because when we stand, anywhere we stand, my case is so dangerous. Nobody talked to me. So now I was getting confused. I said, what is going on? That's it. Then I hear the other guy on the phone that he's late now. He told me, said, yeah, you know, case from Banjo. Sorry for Madinga. You know.
It's okay.
Yeah. So then we drove to Banjo. So when we get to Banjo, everybody rushed on me. You're like, they are on the phone. We are getting him. We are getting him. We are getting him. So when we got to Banjo, still I was confused. So we went there to the mayor crime, sat in the mayor crime office for some time. Then they moved me to a special room. They discussed. Then a friend of mine who is a police officer, he wanted to talk to me, but really he's a junior officer. So the only thing he told me that, look, tell them that you want to hit yourself. You want to use the bathroom. Then because I was in a handcuff. And to the guys, can I use the bathroom? Then they ordered him to remove the handcuff, let him escort me. So when we got to the bathroom, he said, boy, what is going on? I said, I don't know. He said, you are the one? I said, for what? So they said, you are the editor of Freedom. You are the one giving all the information to Pandey. I said, no. I said, it must be me. He said, tax. If I knew that it was you, I was going to alert you. That's how, by 8, 9, and they told me, say, NIA. So when we came to Bakau Garage, I was really hungry because the whole thing has made me hungry. So I asked the guy, I want to eat. Because I know I'm not going to come out. So the only money that I have enough money with me. So I bought 5 packs of Piccadilly to have a cigarette. Then I bought 1 tonic and Sprite. I put it in the plastic bag because I know where I'm going. I'm not coming out. So we went.
You were certain about that?
Yeah. We got there. When we got at the gate, from the gate, the guy told me, say, okay, you can handle everything to the security, but you are not going to spend the night. But you are going to go home. So I was just smiling with him. So we got in. So when we got in, then I was confined in a small cell, like, for some time. Yeah. So then the guy who came to pick me from the cell to the panel now, he couldn't talk to me. And there is someone who I know very well. He's late too. No. So he only came. Then when he came, he clapped his hand. Then he gave me an order. Then I stand. Then he said, every direction is by clapping. No talking. So we climbed the step. We got in. When we got in at the conference table, you see a big table. All the unit head in this country was on that table at that time. The IGP, the CDS, the deputy CDS, director of immigration, they were all sitting. So when we got in, the guy told me, okay, you have removed the handcuff. So they removed the handcuff. Then the Ndao asked me, I can't see him now for years now, but he said he was a bright little guy with a big ear, you know. So he told me, say, what is your name? Then I call my name. Then he said, okay, where do you work? I said, really, I'm not working now. I do freelance journalism for News and Report magazine. Then he said, do you know Pandiri? I said, very well. Oh, when I say very well, that was the wrong answer. You know, that time Maya Muko had just walked in. He have this, I don't know, lamb. Yeah, yeah, the one they call lamb. You know, these iron bankers. So he just hold the banker, then he hit me on my head. But with the fear and where I'm sitting, I never knew that someone had hit me. So Olimati Cox, she worked for, how do you call this place? UNA. She was, because I think the list, on that list, it was 290 something. So she too, she was just interrogated.
This includes also other journalists like Lamin Chan.
Right? Yeah. So then,
yeah, the one who we usually would host on our own platform.
Yeah. So what happened?
Mr. Lamin Chan.
Yeah. So what happened now? So the blood is coming down, but I can't feel that something had really wound me. So, yeah. So what happened? Olimati told me, say, Musa, be careful, because if the blood enter your eyes, that is the time I knew that this whole place now is with blood. Then they started asking questions. I work for Pioneer. I said, no. What do you do? I said, no, I just do a freelance journalism. Then they brought my email address. I even have to block that email address. And maybe, I don't know where we go with Gamcell. That's Gamcell. That's why I stopped using my Gamcell. Then I saw my Gamcell line with my email address. So this guy used to be at, he joined Standard of late. Maybe you know him, Boja.
Umar.
Yeah, the
Umar
guy.
Ba.
Yeah, no, it's not Umar Ba. There's a guy who was doing the Islamic color for Standard,
Yes. I met him once.
Yes. So he brought a small laptop, HP. It says HP, yes. So a small laptop, and they connect the laptop, and they put the email address that I should sign in. I told them, say, no, this email is not working. Because what really happened, at that time, I was close with Amnesty and the Human Rights Defender Network for West Africa, and I was really involved into this human rights work. So they have sent me a letter to be printed, to be given to the Justice Minister and the Interior on Gambia human rights situation. So my fear is, if they see that letter, definitely then I'm a dead man. So when I refuse to move to sign in, when I sign in, when the team's single, then they say it's a wrong email address. There where the problem started. So my Amuko told me that, Bara, you don't want to talk? I said, but I didn't know. I don't know this email address. I was using it, but I stopped it. I'm not even using email because of one or two reasons. So he told them. Then everybody started asking, where did I work? Where, questions coming from all over, So what really happened? Then they told me, okay, wake up, go downstairs. So when I got to the cell, I met, because we have two cells. We have MRC, then we have the journalists. Because there was a group of people from MRC, from Keneba, Farafia, and MRC headquarters here.
What was the time Gambia threatened to close MRC, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know, but those guys were there. There was a female, she worked for EcoBank now, go with me, we'll talk about it. So, then there we were many in the cell. So, I thought that there was nothing happening, So we sat down and then we started chatting. Then by 2, this guy came now calling the list. Yeah, when he call you, you have to come out. So when he called me, I refused to answer. That refused to answer caused another problem. So when I came out, and what really happened is there are not people who are really to their sense. You can beat the 6, 7 of them, you get away, but someone is at the gate. Because what happened, they are half drunk, and cannabis are in their hand. You see them with these brandy bottles, these big bottle of brandy, one with one brandy, and the marijuana, the school is very powerful. So when they gave you the order that, okay, these are some of the issues I had, because they will put you on the street, then they put the belt, then they tie you. So everybody hates you. Everybody hates you until Maya Mugo will do like this. Then he will ask you, are you willing to talk or you are not willing to talk? He will ask you in both English and Madinga. And I'll tell you in Madinga, no, I don't know what you are talking about. So I was like, that at that time, my hand was hit because the guy hit it with a gun. And I feel it really, but the pain, I'm not even caring about the pain on my body. How would I leave that place? So when we went to the cell, in the morning, this hand has started getting swollen. There was no way. Please, no. It was another officer we have to talk to. He have to buy me some bluefin and other stuff, because at the gate, it's only 2 times you eat. If you have money at the gate, in the morning they will open the gate. There's a special book for you. They will tell you, say, okay, double, yes. How much do you want? You will tell them, I need bread. I need egg inside my bread. So they will mark it. They will go to your file. They will open your phone. Then they will take all those things from there. Then they buy it. Then in the afternoon, they will just go to buy the junk food. Whether there's anything inside, then they bring it for you. In the evening, if they are happy, they will just buy you an empty bread. And then they put maybe a 50 bottle bottle or $100 bottle. Then they bring it to you. So when this guy came, I explained the situation to him. I said, this is what is going on. In my hand, I'm so afraid. And he said, but you can't go out. What we will do, when I'm coming tomorrow, I'll get you some pain tablet. Don't buy breakfast until I come. Then when I come, you will demand, when I get to the gate, then when I'm coming with the breakfast, I'm going to put these tablets inside the breakfast, in the bread. You see? So that's what he did. So now pressure started coming on them. So one night, the third night, then, the same thing happened. The 10th night? Yeah. Every night it happened because the guy would just come.
Every night?
Yeah.
How long did you spend in the...
I spent almost like 9 days and I was released late at night. Because what happened, there was a document. When I met Captain Sen, he asked me because he...
Captain Sen?
Yeah. I went to the office.
The former lawmaker?
Yeah, the former lawmaker. When I met him, he told me, oh, young man, you're not supposed to be here. You are a good gentleman and this. It's not about you, but freedom, pandiri.
Was the director of NIA at the time?
He was a director. He was an advisor to them, but he do sometimes some of the most difficult, how do you call it, investigation. If they don't trust you, they send you to him. So we never knew that he have a button under the table, So when he asked me, because what I stood right, I have one grant, I don't know what you are talking about. Yes, I work with Pandiri. We were together, we go to parliament together, but since he went to America, we never have any call. We have no business. So when he asked me, then he told me in a word that you are trying to be so stubborn. I said, sir, I'm not stubborn because I don't know what you are talking about. So at that time, then he just pressed a button. It was some minutes to 6 in the evening, I will never forget. Then 2 gentlemen came, then the other man hold me on the other side, and they dumped me in the cell. I was in the cell with a lot of people, so I'm here to talk about people, different people, So that's how we got into the cell now. So my hand now was my problem, because my hand and the pain was getting too much, and I couldn't sleep. And it coincided with the 2006 military coup. So we are mixed with coup plotters. They will come for them, so that when they want to deal with them, they pack you one side. If possible, they hit all of you together. So that's how it was. So I have no option. So when we pleaded with them, one afternoon we came out, then I think Swaibu and Uncle Sam managed to come. They are seeing us, they are telling them that we are not there. Because they were asking for Lami Fati, myself, Lami Cham, Pamodu, Fa, yeah, because that time Nyambali, I think...
You were all arrested at the same time?
No, Lami Fati have an issue with independent. The difference between the interior minister and the soldier, that is Samaba. That was his problem. He went in with Mahdi, Musa Sedikan and other.
From independent?
Yeah, from independent.
You went in with Lamin Chaman?
Yeah, Lamin met me in there.
But I suppose it was in relation to an information they accessed through
the hijack of Freedom website.
Yes, website.
Yeah, that was...
And past email, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That they suspected you people were in touch.
Yeah, when I was released, that was the time I saw the newspaper that was printed by Daily Observer. There where you see all the list, email address, telephone number with your name, even where you live. Because I think when they hijacked the site, but to be honest with you, I had never ever, no, never ever in my life. It's just after this 2016 that we started to talk, so now on Facebook. But to type anything on, because when the PAR launched, I think that was the anniversary of Dera Hyderabad at Karaba Beach. Everybody was talking about it. I should have been at that program, but I was having malaria. I was not well. So we couldn't talk. You understand? So it was like a surprise to me. You see? So that's one side. And after that, we started going, but there have been a lot of thread inviting me. And this, that, and it was.
Have you ever been charged?
Yeah, I've been charged. I've been charged.
You were taken to court?
Yeah,
that was in 2015.
Yeah, 2014, that's where I'm coming. In 2014, on the 13th of of January.
So, take us back a little bit. You were arrested in which year?
Yeah, 2006, and I was
arrested in 2006.
Yeah, and
you were only charged and taken to court in 2014.
No, that is a different.
For a separate case, but
this is a separate case. That's where I'm going to now. And despite that, we are there.
Before you go to that case, for this particular case, was there at any point when you attempted to seek justice for what had happened?
Oh, I have never.
Separately on this.
I never make, even with the TRRC, I'm yet to decide. I never make any comment to anybody that think this is my first public comment. Because what happened, because what really happened, I just look at it like it has happened. Because it came to a time, I'm not trying to sit here to boast or maybe to tell you who I am, but I challenge this, the former regime to all levels. Yes.
But do you know why you are here? Do you know why we invite you?
Yeah.
Because we are aware of a lot of cases like this that has happened in the past. And we are hoping that with the constitutional review that is coming up, with the TRRC that has been set up, things like this would never have to happen again in the Gambia.
Yeah.
And it's stories like this and other people's stories that when they are explained and people, I know this is difficult. It's truly difficult. What you have explained here touches everyone, and I'm sure in our hearts we're crying with you. But it's important that we get these stories out there.
Yeah, but the problem...
And you're at the right time when you feel comfortable sharing them.
No, I'm always comfortable. The problem is what happened here. When we look at the impunity you are talking about, it started on the fateful Friday. I could remember I was very young. Because after the coup, they were just when they announced, I think all the radio stations in Gambia were shut down. It was only Radio 1, may his soul rest in peace, my Uncle George radio was talking. You understand? So when you look at these things, it started from that day. And when we are talking about this, that's one of the reasons I don't like to talk about these things. We give it a chance. And we are fighting to get it out. We need to come out with one force or one voice to get it out. If we are not careful, within this new dispensation, there have been a threat on journalists. There are some people who are still detained. As Fourier said, detention without trial. But they will tell you that they are these type of people. So it comes in different ways. It comes in different ways. Don't mind because he was killing or he was sacking. But every government, no government in Africa or in Europe or in America that tell you that does not commit it. But what we want, let it be committed in confine of justice. Like when we look at one thing now, in the Gambia, yes, things are moving. But when you look at the media landscape, there are still a lot of challenges which need to be addressed.
Yeah, one of the challenges being the media law that Jammeh has put in place, which victimizes journalists for doing their job within the normal channels of our legal system. But because it has been put in the constitution that when you do so and so and so, you have committed a crime.
Yeah, that's what I defined in 2014. I told them I was willing to pay it.
And it happens that we still have those laws.
Yeah, I'm not here to boast, but I was willing to go to jail because I couldn't raise the 15 million. Because if I was convicted, definitely I was going to go to jail. But I have all the options because I was sleeping in my house from here to Brikama. If I enter Brikama in City, I could have leave this country. You were here, but I go to court until my court excuse. Sometimes he would tell me, Musa, you are stupid, let's go to that. I said, no, I'm not going nowhere. Yes. And that was my belief. I have that belief because I was arrested in the presence of my kids who came from Europe to visit me. My daughter was just going to the salon to plait the hair, and when my Fuji called me, look, these guys are all over. When I got there, I met Kanye telling me, Kanye, who I knew was just a crime scene photographer, telling me, say, they are calling OC. And I moved with them, and when they told me that we are going to Banjul, you know where they took me? To Sanya. Yeah, I was detained in Sanya. Even when I was granted bail, I think you were in the courthouse.
MK?
Yeah, you were there. The first person, the first call that, look, you are leaving tonight, I told them, no, that's a wrong decision. We are going to fight it. It was not to say I'm here to make it out. It was two things. Either I survive it and I survive it. You know what I'm saying? So these are some of the challenges. People were calling me, I don't want to need them, diplomats was calling me, no, Musa, you cannot face it. We pay the bail bond. It's better you leave tonight. When you get to Dakar, we are going to fly you out. I told them, no, we are going to go to court. And MK was mad with me asking. Even when we were coming from Sanya to Banjul, when they were transferring us from Sanya to Banjul, when the car break at the traffic light, MK said, boy, it's time to go. Because the guy who was with us, he was like in sympathy with us. If we had got out of the car, we were going to say no, because it was a pickup. The 4 of them are in the front. We are just sitting at the back. So when the car slowed down, a traffic light MK tell me, say, boy, God, let me see. So I have to hold him. And when we got there, he started, everything, the blame was on me.
So the charge at that time was that you reported that some people, the same man actually brought the story to your newspaper that some people defected to UDP. And they said that was not true, wasn't it? I think that was the charge.
What really happened, the paper has been targeted because if you can remember, when I will get to that point also, when 4 of the editorial staff of The Voice were paraded in 2015, you understand? They believe that we have a backing from UDP or either an opposition. And the paper has been running from my pocket. Nobody gave us money. You can check the Trust Bank account, you can check the Mega Bank account. There's nobody has given out even a $5,000 for a printing cost. So the fear is, why this, how, and what happened, it was so sad, and that statement is still on the paper. Nobody advertised with us. You understand? Because you get to the art is there for you. These are people we went to school with. These are people we know. Why are they not giving you advertisement? When you get there, they say, hey, be like, okay, well, it's here, but we cannot give it to you. Because the issue went up to the extent, when we published that Jaya Jammeh got married in Ghana, he bought all the paper that day. A senior NI officer called me and said, hey, boy, I don't think you are going to sleep at home. I said, what happened? He said, okay, my family like Kaito Besa. He sent people to Westfield because we got the story from Delega, and the friend of mine who worked there, we met at the conference. I talked to the guy, then the guy said, it's true. So the picture was there. When we put it at the front page, before people could get the copy at Westfield and Banjo, you know, he had sent his boy. So the paper was like packed in front of him. And a friend of mine who is close to it then said, boy, I don't think you are going to spend the night at home. Just be on the guy. And then when anybody call you, don't pick your phone.
So in terms of, we fast forward, you've been acquitted and discharged by the court for this particular one. So the first one you were tortured. Fast forward, because probably we're limited with time.
Okay.
What, in terms of impunity, what do you think the Gambia government should do in ensuring that people, journalists, don't go through crimes like this?
You see, democracy, it's not really written, like Abraham Lincoln said. It's just, that was his belief, but it's not really on board. But when you look at it, the government, that's what we were expecting, that should have been their first step. This government, we were expecting, before they move the age limit and to do things that will be their own interest, that is what we were expecting from this government. Because when you look at it, why is my reason? All the arm, the foot, the legs, the stomach of this country was paralyzed by Jammeh. I don't know whether you believe that. The Bar Association with that, there's no lawyer will just, you walk to and say, I have a case as a journalist who want to take it. That's what I mean, like Camara Popular. Sorry for calling him me.
Yeah.
But when he, in 2009, when he attacked us, I was on the list. But at that time, I have it. Because when they were looking for me, I was on my way to Libya for the AU Summit. You understand? I work for another agency outside there. So this guy invited me to cover the AU Summit. And because I was from the other AU Summit, so I just came in. I just came from Abidjan. When Buya called me and said, boy, where are you? We have this press release. Okay, Buya. We should have published it, but what happened? It was failure of internet and electricity. When they went for Samsar, Papsen and other, but notwithstanding, we didn't give up. We're still using our editorial and our headline to write what we want. Nobody was talking. We were the one talking. Gambia media, here, there, it was the newspaper. If you check, do your survey and do your checking, his target has been already the newspaper. It's in the Radio 1 and Star FM, Taranga came in later. You understand? So we thought that when these people come first to say, okay, these guys are a group of young people who have been struggling with us, let me move this team first. But you hear the minister last time?
The laws.
Yeah, the laws. You hear the minister? That in case of anything, maybe they can still use it. Even you need to be very careful, because when they put you in a box, it's there. You can be charged with that.
Sure. Are you hopeful that things are going to change?
We are hopeful, but with observation. We are hopeful, we're monitoring.
So as they would say, we will keep our fingers crossed.
Yes. We are monitoring then, because what really happened, most of these things that they are...
You say we, is this an organized...
The media. The Gambia Press Union is our umbrella body. Whether you are here at Fatou, When you are pick up now, they will call Sirif. Sirif will alert. He maybe, I don't know what you know. He will talk to CPA Dana, he will talk to Media Foundation, Article 19, everybody.
Yeah. My expectation with the media, with the GPU, is that you are going to do everything within your power to fight the current laws that are that criminalizes journalist activities to be
so maybe I can chip in some few things.
Yeah, let me come in. In that particular angle, if you look at it, I am at the forefront in Gambia. And luckily be, I work for PEN as a program assistant for PEN International. It's a body that deal with human rights work in the UK. I was in Mauritania in April to petition the African Commission. Let we try to move. We don't even call it criminal law. We call it colonial laws. Let them take it from. Let them put pressure on African government. Let it get out of the system. Gambia, we have a very good, small country. We have a good democracy. We have, like, when you look at it, you wouldn't know. If you are arrested, sometimes it's like when one guy in Banjul is arrested and guy in Brikama it's an extended family system. What happened in this 22 years of this country is a side thing that when you think about it, and you will be shocked when you get to that TRRC, you hear name that is Bojan who are torturing Bojan. It's Jalo who are torturing, like OJ is calling him, but they will be telling you. So it's sad. These are the first, they should have given that first right. That look, they will make these young people happy. But they are looking at their age limit. What are we doing with age limit? What are we doing with age limit? Without all them, nobody get them. He knows.
Of the vice president.
Yeah, when you get the age limit, it's a vice president. But when the media is vibrant, and they give us, let me tell you one thing. Even if they remove the age limit, it's still a problem. Investigating journalism is still a challenge for Gambian media. No, that culture of silence is embedded into the system that to an extent, that yes, boy, this guy is sad and he broke this car, you can't just be like, boy, it's a news to me there. You see? You can move the law, but if their certainty is put in place, then we will still be working with second-hand information.
That's true.
And second-hand information in journalism is not good. You understand? It's better when this thing happen. Like, for example, there was a mass failure this year into the school system. I think you know about that.
Yes.
If the doors are open, we have to go there and look at it, talk to the teachers, and get to the schools, and get to these people.
I emphasize this over and over again. A lot of things are dependent on access to information.
That is the problem.
Access to information. People have public information that are for public consumption. They refuse to release it because there are laws protecting them.
Yes. The laws are still there. When you look at everything, even if this social security issue, if we have access to information, journalists was going to investigate it to give you the right direction to tell you what is happening. But when you get it, no, man, neck must see office there. Fine, you small job, man, see. Man, neck must feed it. So these are some of the things. Moving the law is one. Implementation of what we want is two. So we still have a lot of blockage over there. And what is making some of these things so difficult, the same people who were in the same system are still in the same system. So if your boss lady here was the marketing manager of Gamse, if she was still the same marketing manager, like she was there, when we go there to look for advertisement, they say, okay, you bring proposal. When we come with proposal, they say, you bring proposal. We will bring proposal until we write until the ink and everything finish. But we have different faces there who doesn't know what is going on. You just say, okay, this is where everybody get it. Even to advertise in this country, there's a lot of challenge that face the media. It's not even a law of impunity and this, because advertisement, you want it, they are not paying. You have to be following the money. How will Fatou pay this place? How can she pay you? You think that you are sitting there for nothing? No. I have experience in running a newspaper in this country for almost 18 good years at my age.
So Musa, if you look at the issue of the torture of journalists, you're not the only person who's going through this. I mean, we have a plethora of cases.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at Musa Sedikan, a number of people, Chief Mane was killed, Deda Hydra was killed. A number of people have also gone through torture in several forms. Alaji Cisse's case was a case in point. But in all these cases, if you look at it, there hasn't been any culprit. Not a single one.
Good question.
Face justice.
Good question.
I mean, currently we are being told we are waiting for the TRRC. Of course, there has been judgments, judgments that are in damages, like the ones issued by ECOWAS Court for Chief Mane's case, Musa Sedikan, leaving Alaji Joe, Fatou, Kamala Lamin Fadi, and all this. But what we don't have is judicial justice for crimes that have been committed. And this is what we're talking about here. What do you feel about that? Because I don't think we have much time.
Yeah.
It appears maybe we are running out.
Yeah, but in that case, look at what I'm going to tell you. Do you think really things are right? No. The same guys who are, if anything that happens according to international law, if I'm committing a crime, you are my junior officer and you are sitting down here, and you hear that I'm going to, excuse for that word, I'm going to rape my sister, and you sit down here, you look at me and rape, you are part of the crime. I don't know whether you know that. Then if anything comes, say, hey, it's Musa who committed the crime, then I'm out. Then you are still here. What do? You are my boy, I will call you boy, you move that file, you destroy that file. The changing of the face bearing mosque at the NIA headquarters was the wrong idea. There where we were tortured. There should be an evidence we should go. I don't want to call in. People who did the act, who were SO, CO, AB, they are staying in the system.
Do you see some of those people?
The current director of SIS, when I was in the cell, he's the OC. He was the OC. He was the OC. He come, we are Bruce, we are coming out. He was there. Musa Diba stayed there. These are senior guys who have been in the system for years. So are you telling me what is going on? These guys should have been stand outside there, put them, collect their passport. What you do to them, let their passport be somewhere. If their salary is $2,000, it tells you every month you can collect $1,000. Every day report to this particular police station. So these guys are in the system.
So talk us through this, because we were talking about this before you come.
Yeah.
You know, in anticipation of the establishment of the TRRC, we're talking about preservation of evidence. Are you talking about here? I mean, can you, in your humble opinion,
the TRRC, okay, I'm coming down. The TRRC, there should be a good studies on the TRRC. Why? We are just 2 million, according to UN report recently. We are not talking about 10 million to say things will be difficult or rush team. We should have set a system. It should be a best example of Africa. You understand? And secondly, I'm not trying to hit anybody or either talk about anybody. People are the TRRC. They are vetting. I don't know whether you know that. Yeah. Some of them went to America to seek asylum because of Yajami was after them. That's what to be on our seat. They are Gambia who could have do better than them. Then they said to stay in our box to speak. What happened to them? Check the asylum people in America and Europe. It's all Yajami. We are seeing it. I don't want to call it in. There's a diplomat who was sent to the U.S. When he got it, the U.S. checked the file. They said, no, you were here on asylum. We can't take you as an ambassador. Am I lying?
So if you look at the TRRC, and for some of you people, do you feel like since the regime changed, I mean, of course, a lot of things have been done, a lot of things are said, Mabo claims to be doing X, Y, and Z. But do you seem, as they would say, justice must not just be done, but must be seen to be done? Do you feel that's the case in the case of journalists who have been tortured and killed?
We will go there. What I believe in saying for maybe we are just going there to call their name and then be ashamed, but justice will then be done. I'm not trying to discredit the system. Because when you look at the setup, I will take you from the Journal Commission. The first executive director couldn't end his job. He was kicked out. That should be an inside thing that they should wait until everything is finished, then maybe they will address the issue. You understand? And secondly, when you look at the TRRC, that's why I tell many people, please, arrest, detain, release, escape, go Dakar. Don't go and make the queue long for people. With people who have correct case, let them go and stand there. Because I was arrested, they call me in the day, I enter the ferry. Those are not cases. Even in Senegal, that control us today, they are doing the same thing. They arrest and detain. They got a worse human rights situation. Investigate them. You understand? So these are things. We are looking at it. When we look at the composition, there are a lot of good people here. We have elderly people here who are retired lawyers. Some of them are good here. They could have come.
So you have a problem with the commissioners within the TRRC?
The commissioner is not a problem. Even the composition. The composition, there's a challenges there. Being honest with yourself. Because there are people who we know they're there. They were vetted and they left this country because of Jammeh. If Jammeh was not going to hate them, they were not going to leave.
So Musa, on the hindsight, there are people who also say that, I mean, perhaps it's going to be very difficult for you to have someone who is not a victim of Chambe because I
disagree with that.
Give you an example of us in media. I mean, the TRRC will be covered by us, but you would barely. You will cover the TRRC yourself, and you are a gatekeeper. It means you filter information. You decide what goes on point and then the voice.
I think the general question is who is not a victim.
No, there are people in this country who are not really a victim. We have 2 million. Okay, thanks to Jambe, he has introduced a university. There are some judges here who are not. You understand? There are people. There are Gambians within the UN. But there are Gambians within ECOWAS who are not.
So, but Musa, do you think that, I mean, the TRRC, for people like you, I mean, because when you talk to government currently about judicial justice, about people going to court, I mean, you've seen the NIA 9, and at some point, even when the initial arrest of the NIA 9 was made, I mean, any observer would see that there was no willingness in the government to prosecute them. In fact, the Justice Minister at the time said he was not ready to prosecute those people. And you've seen this reflected in the case. It's still stalled as a no case.
So,
I mean,
excuse me, let me come in
from
there.
that perspective, it is like, do you think that judicial justice could have been good for you people, so that people who have committed crime, torture you, are selected, prosecuted, instead of waiting for the TRRC?
That could have been done. That could have been a first move. Maybe according to the ECOWAS, you have to deal with the local remedies and other. Like for me, I'm just looking at them. Secondly, maybe I may not be interested to go there. I have a lot to
go where?
To go at the TRC.
Why?
No. Like be a go. Like what you are saying for the example you are giving with the Justice Department, that is a weakness. There is a problem in there. Because when you are talking about you want to champion democracy by force and you want to bring these people, make sure you have the judges and everybody to, let a proceeding go. That proceeding is just 3 months. Call the witness, get them to the box. Who is this and who is this? But if you see the weakness is we are still lacking some manpower within the system, but we don't want to admit, we want to take everything, the bull by the horn. You will tell me us that, these people are the Jamaica. There are some good Nigerian judges who we can bring here, we can remember, maybe you never know, but ask the Gambia co-reporter about Justice Tahi, Justice Bagri. Those are people, God-fearing people. When they stand 2 o'clock, they step down, they go and pray. They are from the northern part of Nigeria. We can still have them and talk to them to help with this proceeding. But if we want for us to depend on this, our new graduate, I'm not criticizing them, I'm not educated, but there will still be that lapses because you have to go and make some, research on the case and this. You understand? Because it's so difficult to the extent that, we don't know what we are doing. But with the issue of the TRRC, my brother, we just have to look at it and we pray that, the Giant Commission give us a good report first before this one report comes. And the issue of impunity in this country, yes, to me, it will not go 100%.
Thank you very much, Musa Sheriff. It's indeed, it was a heated one and quite insightful. I believe young journalists like so many of me that are out there have learned a lot today. So what would be your last word or your final words?
The final word is not anything big because like show like this, I think this is all over the world. Anybody in Japan or either in India, just saw you online, you can get what we are saying. But I think this is good for our new democracy because this is what they call national building. Because when you look at something, what you are doing here now, like when people tell me, there's no job, we all cannot be a Gante. Can Gambia employ 500 people? No. But this is the creation of job. And what we want, and my final word is government should open up, give even licensing or every support to institutions like this, ours, for us to create more jobs. Because if we are getting it, definitely we are going to give job to people. I can pay an editor $10,000. But if the money is not coming, then that will have to leave me to look for a better job. He was with me. He left because of money.
I did not leave because of money. I was with him and I'm still with him.
That's half record. You see? So these are the things. And then secondly, like this TRRC, let journalists be respected. and that be a special space for either TV, because people want to document.
Right.
People want to get it document. Some people make us in the next 5 years, we God give the Almighty Allah give a long life. Some people can make us a film. We are seeing it on Idi Amin. We are seeing it in other part of Africa. Why is Jamaica? It can be done in Jamaica. So these are some of the things I can just leave for you. And anytime you need me, if today was so short, but if you need me, we can talk on other issues.
Right,
just notify me, I will come over.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the brunch.
Thank you.
Mustafa, what are your final words?
It's been an eventful week. I think it's an amazing thing, except that we've not tested our gentleman on a one-to-one questions. But anyway, it's been an eventful week, and like we always said every week since the report about Faraba has been launched and the report on the social security. We hope the president released this report.
I hope so.
It's not food, huh?
No.
Yeah. So
you cannot afford it. So yeah, this is very heavy, especially the latter part of our discussions, and we are very happy to have you here to share your story.
Yeah, welcome.
It's a story very similar to so many other people's story, and we hope that moving forward, things like this are going to be remembered as things of the past.
Right.
And there are so many things that needs to be done, institutional reforms. We talked about the police here. We need to have an attitudinal change. We need to have our public officials take things seriously and be truthful and be loyal to the people and to take our cases seriously, such as this. So thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, viewers. Indeed, we've heard from all of our panelists, including our special guests for today. And I believe we've learned a lot. Of course, you know how we do it here in Fatou. We always bring to you things that are educative and quite insightful. I still remain joy and do enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Dreaming of owning a property in a prime location with great proximity and fantastic neighborhood? EJ Investments Sanyang Seaview Estate is the best choice you have been waiting for. Our Sanyang Seaview Estate is approximately 15 minutes drive away from the busy hub of Brusubi roundabout and into the heart of nature, where you can have a peaceful and relaxed lifestyle with your family. You can buy a finished 4-bedroom story with 5-year flexible payment plan or a service plot with 2-year payment plan option. With over 300 homes, you will enjoy big tar roads with covered drainage, modern electrification with solar street lights, gated entrance with security post, and a breath-catching experience of our beautiful sea view and lake view. You can own a home today at our Sanyang Seaview Estate. Call us today on 446-4838 or 325-9220. Visit our website on ejinvestments.net. EJ Investments, first in property.